Hi all, right, welcome back. Enemy Action Kharkov, German Solo, part 16 this is going to be. So, we eventually moved our way through that part 14. I've still not viewed it all back yet. 15 happened later last night, which brought up a lot of things I think. Um, Definitely a few things out there that could do with getting clarified I think. Um, Yeah, well, I'll not start going into that yet. I'm sure we're going to come across more cases, and eventually, hopefully, Mr. Butterfield comes along and clears up any confusion that might be there. Okay, so it's a German impulse next. Now, it's quite a strong movement by both third tank and, well, maybe not so much Popov. Well, in a way it was, because there's a threat on Zimiev there, and remember, um, urban infiltration. These guys activate. The first thing they're going to do is move into here, and then also Volchansk is empty, and that's exactly the same thing that's going to happen with these guys, with the third tank. So we're sitting like two victory points under threat. This guy also did he get attacked? Um, this guy got attacked, and he held strong actually, and all he did was lose his IP. He is surrounded though, and that means even more urgency to get a unit in here. But I can't get anything in there straight away. The nearest sort of possibility is this second SS, and I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to activate second SS. But I mean, 1, 2, 3 up the road there, but then you can't. I mean, to be honest, it'd be 6 to move into there anyway. But it's silly of him moving into there because he can't get into Volchansk. And there's a lot of broken hexes in the way, and the roads are way along here to come around. So you can see he's not going to be able to make it in this one movement. So the other option was the Rouse units, and they don't have the movement as well. I mean, they're breaking zone of control, so it's like 1, 2. Well, this guy could go, yeah. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's as far as they're going. If they get to this position, they're then 1, 2, 3. So they've got 2 moves, and they'd be able to get in there. One of them. But the second SS, I'm assuming, would probably be able to achieve the same by going. These cards a little bit. See, I don't think there's any point going along to sort of Belgorod, and that's why I don't want to move these, because I want these to be protecting Belgorod. So, however, we are moving out of Kharkov for this. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's probably best moving this unit to maybe here. I think something like that. Now, you'll also notice we've got the 4th Panzer Army card in our hand, so that would allow me, and the cards in my hand does allow me 2 activations of 2nd SS. Obviously not consecutively, but well, I mean, they've just played the 3rd tank card, full activation, and a Popov card, full activation. And they're the 2 threats on these 2 victory points. Of course, the other one, activating 2nd SS, as I can. Yeah, I should have the movement. That's going to be. Oh, that's a broken hex as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Oh no, I've not. I've not got enough movement. Because that is a minor river. And I can see it joining back up again, although the victory point marker covers it. You can see the river coming along into the hex side there, and just under the word Zimiev. Well, actually, you probably can't see it at that distance, but if you zoom right in like that, you'll see that it looks like it comes out again and moves. Obviously, it flows into the Donets. So, and this would be breaking zone of control into a broken hex across the Donets River. So 1 for breaking zone of control, 2 for crossing the Donets River and 2 for the Broken Hex. There's 5 movement to reach there, and then it'd be another 2 because he's crossing the Minor River to move into there. That's awful then. I thought I was going to be able to do that, no problem. Oh well, I guess even more reason for a double activation of a second SS is to get this unit a position where we can take Zimiev as well. That was silly of me, yeah. It just I suppose, naive, not playing the game before. But then I played the enemy action Ardennes. I've got some idea of how things should work. However, possibly I didn't consider at the time when I made these moves the urban infiltration. I think that only came to my mind when I started reading through the movement methods again. I remember reading it in the rules before I started the game, so it was read before, but maybe just when I moved into the game and started playing it, I didn't really consider it. Because obviously I'm thinking, well, these guys can't move from zone of control. Oh, however, this guy can go out and in, so he's not even concerned with urban infiltration. But this one here is, because he can't just move straight into there, but he can with that urban infiltration. I left both these units. When I deployed these units, I deployed them. Well, actually, I didn't deploy him. He moved to that hex, and he could have moved to that hex. And I deployed that unit to that hex where he could have been deployed to that hex. So I kind of created this problem for myself. All that, the positioning of that unit was to let this guy deploy on this crossroads there. Would it have really mattered if he'd deployed here instead of there? Don't think so. Oh well, lessons learned, hopefully, for the next game. Right, well, looks like I've just got to move my second SS units to a position where we can have an intervening impulse and then activate them again with the 4th Panzer Army card. Now, can I place them in a position that might benefit from activating them that way? No, I'm not going to be able to, because I'm going to have one unit down here that I need to move, and I'm going to have one unit up here that I need to move, so that's not going to work. So it more than likely is just going to be an activation of second SS again. Yeah, and this guy I don't know. Obviously he's in Chugev, so I don't want to move him out, but I probably feel like I should move this guy back a bit. In actual fact, I could probably get him down into position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If he's there, he could then move 1, 2, 3, 4 into Zimiev from there. That might be wise. I know we're kind of abandoning this one-step Rouse unit as well, though, but and then if that Rouse unit does go, then there's a gap opened up into here. There's a victory point over here, but we probably want to be falling back with these 3rd Corps units at some point as well when we get a card to activate them, so that might help things. So yeah, it might be worthwhile, the risk of just leaving that. Yeah. Okay, right, make your mind up, Grant. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to go with this and activate all units in the second SS. Panzer Corps, we have 4 units, 1, 2, 3, 4. This guy I'm not going to move, but I'll do my bit. Well, for some reason I've remembered. So these are all active. Like I say, I don't think I'm moving the guy in Chugev. Zimiev. Would it be wiser moving him across the river at least? I don't know. Right, I think this guy's got to go somewhere though, isn't he? He's got to make a move up to Volchans, can he? So let's look at him first. Well, I think it's probably just going to go where I said. I mean, there's nothing to stop me moving him across to Belgorod, I suppose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then he's within range of Volchansk. But I wouldn't say Belgorod is in immediate danger as of yet. You know, there's not a gap here. I mean, this guy's, although he held well there, he's going to be threatened again. He will be attacked again. So, yeah, I think I'd like to actually just put this guy here in the Broken Hex across the river, and then if they did burst through, then at least he's sitting across the river. Yeah, let's go with that. So 1, 2 along the road, and then the road stops, unfortunately. So 1, 2, 3, 4 into Broken, 5, 6 into Broken. And then, oh, hang on, Grant, though. You've got them. Oh, no, I can just cross right into the town, yeah. And what if, well, these guys aren't going to move down there. If they activate, one of them's going in there, full stop. And now they can't go out and in because we've got zone of control, but they can still use the urban infiltration. So that's the thing, it doesn't even stop that, you know. Well, I suppose if a unit was there, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into there, and then 1 into there. So I could go that way if I really need. I can't see why I would need to be going that way. If I can't go straight in, then I'm not going to get in. That's what I'm thinking. Right, let's go with that guy. Again, the guy in Chugev not going to move. So it's just about these two guys and what we're going to do with them. Well, I think I'm going to bring this guy down, but I do also think that coming across the river is a better place for this guy to be. Because where he's sitting just now, you know, if they come across, I mean, okay, he's sitting in the woods, but we've noticed it's beneficial if I can be across the river, and I mean, it could be different in this case because one of them could come across into here and attack from that angle, which is then not coming across the river, I suppose, but yeah, does that mean he might be better in the woods then? I don't know. I think I'm going to move this guy down. And, okay, it's leaving this Rouse unit in. Yeah, it's leaving him in a whole lot of heart row, isn't it? I mean, even the 6th Army activate, he's going to get attacked. No, I think I've got to keep my more sensible head on and realise that the 2nd SS do need to come back a little bit. Let these 3rd Corps maybe drop back and try, and if they get the chance to maybe sort of secure that side of the river round a bit of there as well. But this guy's too important, he needs to come back. So 1, 2 breaking zone of control, 3, 4, 5, 6 is probably about the best I can get. I mean, I could have went into there, but I think that's fine. I mean, I can reach Zemiev from there, 1, 2, 3, 4, or even just 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. So yeah, leaving that Rouse unit on his own. I think, like I'm saying, if I get an activation on 3rd Corps, probably wanting to start bringing certainly these 2 units down a bit. Right, where was I? I got called away there. Yeah, I think this is, you know, like I say, they could break through here right enough. And yeah, I'm talking about bringing these 3rd Corps units down. That's what I was just saying just now as well, though. If I do that, it exposes a gap here as well, doesn't it? Well, these things could be moved down and create a better line, and they could move down a little bit. I could maybe get, like, this guy could come back to here maybe. Yeah, he's surrounded, isn't he? Yeah. Yeah, he's surrounded. But he held strong, didn't he? But that means while he's surrounded, they're not going to remove surround from him. until they beat them to a pulp, I suppose. Again, though, the fact he's surrounded, we could get unit in adjacent to him to trace supply. I was wondering, I was looking for the withdrawal rule, but it's obviously just in the Soviet, so I certainly couldn't see it in it. So if it's in there, let me know, guys. It's a rule it was a new thing that they brought in, and I forgot about it first. I think Martin actually mentioned it, and I thought, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Soviet withdrawal. This is obviously, I'm looking at the other rule book now. It was allowing Soviet units to withdraw out of surrounded hexes, but I don't think we get it in this game. I don't suppose they get it either, do they? Thing was, the Germans got in the last game. Certain action cards allowed it. I can't say I've seen it even in the. Well, you know what? It might be in some of the movement methods. As we move on, as the Soviets then become a little more defensive, it might be that they get the chance to do that. But I've not seen any way of us getting out of surrounded hex, apart from retreating. And that's kind of what I remember that attack last night when I had this situation here, or yesterday at some point. And was kind of hoping that I might get I ended up with a D1 result, didn't I? And if I got a D2, I would have been in here. However, it would have been one step shorter. But at least I would have been in the town, Okay, yeah, I'm good with moving this guy down, I think. I mean, okay, it's not ideal, but I think they want to be down further here. I'm just not sure about if I should move this guy across the river or not. I kind of feel like I shouldn't, and in fact no, because I'm going to open the gap, because if I move him into here, there's a gap created here. Okay, no, that's sorted it then, so I'm not going to move that guy. And you know what, he's going to be able to build an IP as well, so there's that. Right, okay, that's my only two movements, this guy coming down and this guy going across, so that we can activate second SS again, and hopefully in time to be able to move this guy into Zimyev and move this guy into Volchansk. Yeah, indeed. Okay, and not a disperse marker, that an IP marker, please. So just checking the back of the rulebook, German impulse. Movement attacks, place IP markers, remove disperse markers, right? And we're not going to do any nonsense with attacks. No, I mean, looking at this guy, but I mean, I think it's a bit daft, really. Yeah. So yeah, they're just staying where they are now. He's in a town, so cannot build an IP. But I'm going to build an IP on that guy who didn't move, and he's in supply. Yeah, and that's that. We keep from. Okay. It feels okay. It feels like the best we can sort of achieve. But I mean, if we now draw a card that's going to activate pop off or third tank, we're going to lose a victory point. And let's hope we don't draw like one of each, because there's a chance they might both have an impulse and both move before we get a chance again. Well, and of course the other thing is I cannot activate second SS again. Now I've not been using these counters, but I might try. What I've thought about doing is just putting it way up the top here. But I don't know. I mean, it's not really that important. I don't think I'm going to forget or anything. And I can always look back on video footage if I'm a little bit unsure, but it's not one of the ones that you're going to forget, don't I? Well, I'll put it up there just now, so I can't activate second SS next turn, next impulse. So the Germans could have 2 or 3 impulses, well, in fact, they could potentially have 4 impulses before we get the chance to activate second SS again. So this might all be for naught. Anyway, okay. Right, let's yeah, I've got time just now to move on and do a Soviet impulse, so maybe be able to create a whole part here. Oh, we've got a card to draw, Grant. Right, so we've got 3 cards on our hand. Let's draw up to 4. And we've got, oh, excellent, good. Third core, that's not the primary. Ooh, it's also got screen, but thing is, not being the primary, we know we're still to get the primaries, so if the screen, you know, the screen could be a consideration. But I mean, why not get these moving now? Oh, I don't know, maybe not, because like I say, we know we've still got to get the primary third core card in this turn. So, right, okay, I'll get set up for a Soviet impulse. Right, okay, here we go. Right, so we don't want to see Popov or third tank here. Is there anything else? That's 69. No, they can't break through. Yeah, that's what we don't want to see. But like I say, what the discard pile has, well, it's got Stavka as well. It's got more group Popov and third tank. So yeah, that was a good thing about one of the attacks. We got rid of the Stavka card. Right, okay, well, here goes. 69th Army, okay, that's fine. 6th Army, okay, well, it's not one of the ones that we were dreading. However, like I say, I've got to have to go through this again next impulse before I can secure the towns. So the primary card is 69th Army, and the auxiliary card is 6th Army card. So looking at the 6th Army card, it's not turn 6, and it's not... Oh, sorry, that's the sign replacement points. We're only looking for an event at the moment. It's not turn 5, basically. So, combat tactics is partisans, so that's quite nasty. Although it's got restrictions, obviously. It needs to be town and what the likes. 69th Army, yeah, well, I can see a couple... I can see one unit adjacent to them that's in the woods, so... that would maybe apply. Yeah, so we're going to do this, and the first command is activate all units in the army. So activate all 69th Army units. So let me move things up there and we'll have a look. Okay, so activate 69th Army. What I'll do is I'll put these third tank units down the bottom, which makes a bit more sense at the moment. And so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 infantry units. There's not any units in reserves, and we've not got assault coordination as a combat tactic, just for a little heads up as to what might happen. Right, first of all, their objective marker's going to move, isn't it, this time? So 69th Army is part of the Vornes front. I'll just put it up top so we can see it. Yeah, just looking back on this nonsense about mixing them all. You know what, I again look back on that video, and if I'd carried on that video that night, I think I would have made a far better job of it. Because you never seen much of what happened the following, because I cut it all out and redone it again. Because I kept messing things up. But that night, I was quite aware that this was my front objective. And then I got up the next morning and I just homed in on this as being the Vornes front objective, and that's what threw me to start with, and then it just got worse from there. Anyway, so yeah, but the condition for it moving, see if we can just go play raid, check, right, if any unit is if any unit in active front, active front's Vornes, if any unit in active front occupies the marker's hex, well, it doesn't, it's just the German unit that's in the hex, or is proximate to unoccupied marker's hex, well, it can't be because there's a German unit in it, or is adjacent to German occupied marker's hex, then roll the die. Well, yeah, we've got Vornes front units, and it doesn't have to be part of the 69th Army, it's just as long as it's a front unit, and it's adjacent to the German unit occupying our front objective hex. So we're going to roll the dice, and there's a table to check here, objective marker, relocation table, first to second objective. So I'm going to check, there's 3 possible outcomes, 1 to 6, 7 to 9, or 10. Right? I've rolled a 5, which is 1 at 6. And the current objective hex is Chugev. So 1 at 6 is Valky. Right, we don't have a... Oh, it's spelled different. It's spelled wrongly on the map or in the player aid. Unless there's another Valky with an I. My guess is not. There's Valky here. It's spelled V-A-L-K-Y. It's shown as V-A-L-K-I in the player aid. I'm guessing it's the same place, and it looks sort of like it would be the sort of line you take. Because I think the options are from Chugiev. The options are Valky, Krasnograd, which is here, or Kharkov, which is here. So it's one of these 3 you're going to get from there. So yeah, it must just be a bit of a misprint somewhere, whether it's on the map or on the player aid. I don't know. I need to look up a map of this area. Okay, so that's now the front objective for the Voronezh front moved further down, and that's just going to get in my way now for my camera action. But fair enough, we'll dodge round about it. I should remember where it is if I do happen to knock it out of place, which is possible. But okay, so that's the first part, and then we're going to activate the units. Yeah, I'm going to try and go with the player aid again. Give it a go. Right, I'm looking at the wrong bit though. Where are we? Right, there we go. Right. So, still on turn 1 to 4. All units take a VP hex. Right. Well, we'll just zoom out a little bit, show a bit more of the area. Well, here's an option. Here's an option for them. There's a VP hex. Unfortunately, they can't get through here. They can't get through here. And there's no gap through there. They can't get through. However, if they were sitting adjacent like these third tank units, then okay. Right, I'm way back to the rulebook again. Yeah, I'm just not comfortable with it at the moment still. There's more information in the rulebook. It's just I read something there that I didn't notice before. Yeah, enter empty German town or city. Move to an empty German-owned town city hex unless targeted exclusively for the inactive front. So there you go. They wouldn't actually move in and take. Well, they wouldn't take like Lozovia there, which is targeted for a southwest front. They wouldn't even take Zimiev because it's targeted for both fronts. So, no, hang on, is that right? No, maybe that's wrong. Unless targeted exclusively for the inactive front. Yeah, no, they would still go for Zimiev because it's only the ones that are targeted exclusively that they wouldn't do. Okay, so, and then we've got the urban infiltration. If starting adjacent to the town city hex, move into that hex regardless of German zones of control. And this is where this third tank unit could just move right into here if he was active right now. Fortunately, none of the 69th Army units are adjacent to Volchansk, so cannot benefit from that. They cannot reach anything else. The only other one sort of close by is Belgorod, but they can't come down here, wouldn't have the movement. They're only just infantry units as well. So not able to do that. So next step is adjacent to German VP hex and near objective. Move to hex closer to, this is the one we had all the bother with recently. And a lot of that bother was just me not grasping things right. However, there was a lot of other questions I think that came up. Like I say, once the video parts get out to you, you might see what I'm talking about. Well, I'm telling you after the fact now, probably. Unless you like to just jump about between the videos, I suppose. then you might want to go back and look at them. Yeah, anyway. Right, move to a hex closer to or within 4 hexes of the unit's objective marker and adjacent to German BP hex. In ascending order. Well, yes, this can happen. Yes. Okay, let me look. We're looking at, right, and remember the front marker is, well, I'll not bring it, well, I'll bring it in view just now, but it's way down here now. So they're not going to be able to move to hexes within 4 of this. That only applies when they get a bit closer. So they have to move closer to that, right? And adjacent to German VP hex. And the German VP hex we're looking at is Volchansk. That is probably the only one. Chugayev, 1, 2, 3. No, we're not even looking at Chugayev because he's the closest one. He's not got the movement to get around and get adjacent to Chugayev. So we're only looking at Volchansk here. In ascending order, we have unit 10 to start with. So I'll just move in on that area. We know, well, I'll check the distance just in case there's doubt about if it's getting closer or not. And I'm sure you can just trust me if I say it's closer. Oops. Right, sorry. Got dragged away again, so might end up not having time to put this part together yet, but hopefully it'll just be a pause and a continuation. Right, well, where was I? Yeah, I was just about to look. Right, so we're looking at movement method 2. We're looking at Volchansk, about moving adjacent to it and getting closer to Vorna's front objective marker, which is down in Valky here. So, yeah, and we're looking in ascending order. So, unit number 10. Right, let's see where you can go then. Okay, I realise I'm talking a lot of nonsense, haven't I? I can't get into Volchansk. Well, not into this hex anyway, can I? Yeah, these 2 German units are walking these 2 hexes out, and this hex is full. Okay, that was a waste of thinking then, wasn't it, Grant? This is the only hex that we can get adjacent to Volchansk at the moment, and it's full up. So there's no point looking at trying to move the 69th Army units via method 2. Alright? Yeah, right, okay, so let's move on then. So method 3 is open supply line, doesn't start till turn 3. So we're still on turn 2. Movement 4 to 9 don't apply to Soviet spearheads. Now, 69th Army is not a spearhead army. So method 4, in descending order, cause surround, move to hex if occupied by the unit would cause an unsurrounded German unit to become surrounded. No, I don't think it's going to happen. This guy's already surrounded. These are the only 2 that they could. No, we can't. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we can't look. We can't look around here. So it can only be these 2 to look at, but we can't get around the back. This guy can't move from here to here, he's zone of control. So, yeah. Nothing surrounded. While I'm there, and when I was looking for this withdrawal, thinking it might be within the German solar rules, and it doesn't appear to be, I did notice something that I might want to keep in my mind. Wait till I find it. Hang on, pause the camera. Yeah, I mean, it's not relevant to this, but just something that I read, page 29, 10.7, German mappage movement. A German unit starting its move in a German mappage hex can move 1 hex to an adjacent German mappage hex regardless of enemy zones of control. If the hex entered is in an enemy zone of control, the unit's move ends in that hex. So, yeah, one to keep in mind. So that is a time when German units can get out of surround, if they're on the map edge though. So, okay, right, it's just while we were over there and I was looking at that area, but this guy's not on the map edge, so. Right, cause surround, so we're not causing surround. Next one is movement method 5 to Soviet VP hex in descending order, and we've got two sort of instructions here. One's for any unit and one's for Soviet infantry unit. So any unit, move to an empty garrison Soviet VP hex targeted for the active front in which a German unit is proximate. No, not going to happen. They've got one up here, which yeah, they're not even proximate to that. So yeah, and there's not a German unit proximate to it as well. So don't need to worry about that. And the second part of that is Soviet infantry unit. If unable to move to an unoccupied Soviet VP hex, move to a VP hex occupied only by Soviet armour units, regardless of German proximity or supply trace. So if he was able to reach here and for some reason there was an armoured unit just sitting there by itself, he would move back there regardless of German proximity. So that's not the case either. We don't have any armoured units sitting in VP hexes that we need to sort of relieve with some infantry. Right, so movement method 6 is adjacent to German VP hex. Well, it's not going to happen either, because 6 is very similar to movement method 2. The only difference being 2 needs you moving closer to your army object, your front objective, and 6 doesn't care about that. So it's this move to a hex adjacent to German VP hex, targeted for the active front. Well, that actually does say targeted for the active front, where the other one had said didn't say that, and the preference was targeted exclusively for the active front. However, this one is just targeted for the active front. So I wouldn't move adjacent to a southwest front VP hex with that movement. Okay. Well, we can't. We've already established that we can't get adjacent to our closest sort of VP hex, which is there. So move on. Movement method 7 in descending order. Adjacent to German unit and logistics hex. No, let's just say the logistics hex are just round about Kharkov for the Voronezh front. And yeah, these guys are not. No, I've already said they can't get down. You can just see that's a logistics hex there at the very bottom right of the camera. But this guy to get round is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is as far as you can get round. So no, we can't get adjacent to German unit and logistics hex. Method 8 in descending order, adjacent to German unit. Move to an unoccupied hex that is adjacent to a German unit and not adjacent to a Soviet unit adjacent to that same German unit. Okay. Okay. And a unit starting in a hex satisfying this movement method does not move by this or any subsequent method. So that might be worth a look, just to see that if they satisfy it. So yeah, in descending order, right, unit 13? No, 14. Right, 14. Yeah, I suppose it's just a quick look to see if they, it's just reading reading, moved it, if is that unit in an unoccupied hex that is adjacent to a German unit and not adjacent to a Soviet unit adjacent to that same German unit. Well, that's not the case because these two are adjacent. So 14 is not. 13 is though, isn't it? So 13 is an unoccupied hex that is adjacent to a German unit and it's not adjacent to a Soviet unit adjacent to that same German unit. So that says a unit starting a hex satisfying this movement method does not move by this or any subsequent method. And here's this bit coming up. Okay, this unit's now not going to move and I've not activated my units yet again. I'm eventually going to scrap this idea and it's going to be right before I draw a units card and then get myself all confused about what's active and what's not, probably. Okay, yeah, Right, but hang on, how do I look at these units? I really have to look at them in descending order though, first. So I've jumped from 14 to 13 here and I shouldn't do that. I think I should look at 14 first. Establish that it's not satisfying. It's not starting in a hex satisfying this movement method. So can it move to an unoccupied hex to satisfy that movement method? Probably not. Because although this is an unoccupied hex, it's going to be adjacent to a Soviet unit. Yeah, it's not going to be able to, is it? Yeah, because there's the Soviet units all around adjacent to this German unit, this one, and this is the only hex possible that you could look at in the Soviet units that are adjacent. So my guess is that unit 14 is not. Now unit 13 satisfies the requirements for it. And it's now not going to move by this or any subsequent method. However, it is going to, and it does say it this time, except as directed by 9.25. So does 9.25 leave that guy where he is? Or would he want to adjust? Now the only hex that he can adjust adjacent to the same German unit would be this hex, because he could go out and in, but he can't get in here. So that's the only hex that he's looking at. So, and then the priorities are operational limit, surrounding the unit, not able to do that. Support, hex not adjacent to a Soviet. Well, there you go, because that would be occupied by or adjacent to a Soviet unit, whereas that hex is not. So he's going to stay there. He's now not going to move, and I'm not sure how to. I guess I could do this maybe. Now we're getting deep, aren't we? So, yeah, I might need to start writing things down now to remind me what they all mean. So let's say that if he's facing 90 degrees in the anti-clockwise direction, that he's been marked as, what is the word done? He's been marked as he does not move by this or any subsequent method. So I can't try and move him with another method. He could still be considered for an attack check against that guy. Yes, I would think there's not a problem. Where my doubt lies is, at the moment, if he doesn't attack, has he considered to have done anything? And it doesn't look like he has, but I brought this question up in Enemy at Ardennes, and although, like I say, the wording was a bit different, admittedly the wording was a bit different. So, and what I'm wanting to know is, can I still bounce that guy back to the reserves? And in fact, yeah, I said I was going to post this question. You know what? I'm going to post this question. Okay, I went away and popped my daft question of the day out there to see. I know this came up. I definitely asked a question in the previous game, any match in Ardennes, regarding the situation. But like I say, the wording was slightly different. I think I got a surprising result back. So probably worthwhile asking. I mean, it doesn't look like this unit's moved. I would say it's not moved. But it's not considered to move at all. So whether that locks it in and does not allow it to bounce back to the reserves. I mean, there's quite a few other conditions for it to be able to bounce back to the reserves anyway. So, right, we'll see. Well, if we get there, we get there. Why have I got a marker in Kharkov? I don't know. I think I must have been marking stuff and whatever. Right, okay. You're not going to get this finished, Grant. I'm jumping a bit all over the place now, aren't I? So, what method are we on? 8? Yeah, 8. So that was unit 13. We've checked 14. And the other ones aren't going to be able to, are they? 12. And they need to check if they can move and also if they're already satisfying it. Well, none of these are satisfying it because they're all adjacent to Soviet units adjacent to the same German unit, and they can't move to an unoccupied hex that is adjacent to German unit and not adjacent to Soviet unit adjacent to that same German unit. Yeah, they can't. this is an unoccupied hex, but if any of them move there, they're adjacent to this guy, which is adjacent to that. So, no, I think you can skip on by the rest of that. And he was only one that... So now he can't be considered to move any other movement methods. So that was step 8. Step 9 is relieve garrison. Doesn't happen until turn 4. So we're on to step 10, which is movement arrows. Unlikely. In ascending order. No. Yeah, let's just say no, Grant. They're not going to be able to move at all with their movement arrows and use up, in fact, any of their movement. Never mind. The unit may spend a movement point to exit an enemy zone of control at the start of its move if otherwise allowed. Ah, yeah, okay. It's still got to be following its arrows. It's not that it can sort of say, well, we'll go back into there first and then... Yeah, it's still got to follow its arrows, Grant. Right, step 11, movement method 11, move closest to front objective marker, front objective, right, it's away down here. Move to a hex closer to the unit's front objective, not the same distance, and then prefer a hex closest to the front objective, and then the next one is adjacent to German occupied hex with least strength, then empty hex. So, yeah, I think this will happen for a couple of them. I'll just zoom out. I'm not going to show you the Vornes front marker, it's too far away, but right, we're looking in ascending again? Yeah, ascending, so unit 10 first. Okay, so that's his two options. Let me check the steps under here. Yeah, they're both 2 steps underneath. So there is space. He's we're looking at unit 10. He's 14 hexes away there. They're both 12 hexes away. That's as close as he can get. Doesn't look like he's going to be breaking any restriction. So between the two, both of them are moving adjacent to the lowest strength German hex, and none of them are empty hexes. So yeah, to tie break first, it would be closest to, and then empty, then furthest in compass direction, which we know is west, so it would be that hex. So that's where pyrates take us. I don't think 9.25 is going to alter it though, is it? Hex not adjacent to or occupied by, no, an empty hex. A hex not occupied by an active unit. Well, fortunately this time both of them are occupied by oh, hang on, they're both occupied by active units as well though, Grant. Yeah, okay, so it doesn't count. They've got active and non-active units in them. So yeah, so I think this one, and just to be doubly sure, that's 1, 2, 3, and then 4 into there. This is going to get awful awkward. I'm putting them in here. He's in there. Yeah. So yeah, there's no restriction. He's not removing surround, and he's not opening a gap to let anything proximate through. So that's okay. So that was unit 10. Unit 11 is here, right? He's going to move around a bit, I think. Okay, that's his 2 options, and both of these are 10 away. He's sitting 12 away at the moment. Again, he's not going to break any restriction by moving away from them. So between the 2, we've not got a German unit, have we? So both as close, no German unit, and they're both empty hexes. Tie break again moves into compass direction, so it would be this one. However, yeah, no, 9.25 doesn't apply this time because we're not moving adjacent to German unit. So 1, 2 breaking zone of control, 3, 4 into there. He was there, he's now there, and no issues. Obviously that 3rd tank unit's in that hex as well. Right, so unit number 12 now. Yeah, he can't get any closer actually. The best hex he can reach is 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's still 12 hexes away. Yeah, so no good for unit 12. 13 cannot move because he's already been set. 14 is going to open a little bit of a gap, but right, let's have a look. Right, okay, well, assuming he's not going to be breaking a restriction, we're going to have a look at this one. And it's not opening up. No, it's not. It's fine, Grant. Because there's not going to be a gap. I mean, this unit would be able to move into this hex, but he can't get... Oh yeah, he can. Well, he can move into there first, but let's just move the guy first, Grant, and see what the problem is. I don't think there's a problem. So he can reach, say, 2 hexes, which are 1 hex closer to where he is. I think he's 13, he's 12 from these two. So, going by the 2, it's going to be empty. Oh no, it's not. Because it's going to be German unit time, isn't it? I think he's going to adjust though, this time. Closest to, adjacent to German occupied hex, which means it's this one he's going to go to, because this one's not adjacent to German occupied hex. So he would move 1, 2, and then 3 into there. However, his other... No, but it's not adjacent to the German unit, Grant. So that is going to be where he's going to settle, assuming there's no restriction. So that satisfied the... I was remembering it for a while. Requirement. That satisfied the requirement and also preferenced adjacent to German German unit. And no tiebreakers needed. That's right, isn't it? Yeah, no tiebreakers needed. And then 9.25, he cannot reach this hex. This hex is full, so it's the only hex adjacent to German unit, so he is going to stay there. Now, what's his problem? Has he left any problems then? I don't think so. 9.23, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, it's just, is he removing surround, or is he opening up proximity to a VP hex? And no, it's not. None of these guys were surrounded, and although this guy can make a bit of a movement here now, and he could actually move in here surrounding these guys. So this is something in the previous game that if you've only played this German solo, once you move into the Soviet solo, this is something that would be restricted because it's in dangerous round if you were playing it from the other way about. Well, yeah. But Soviets, I think, because they're on the aggressive, it's a different kind of game. But I'll tell you what, it makes it much easier. much easier to play the AI in this game. Up to now, anyway. Like I say, maybe some things have still to kick in yet. So, right. So he's going to go there, and yeah, I mean he's not left proximity to this VP. Right, just the range there. This VP time, because this guy, he still can't get through. There's still not a gap there, even though he can move into these hexes. I mean, once he moves into there, 1, 2, 3, 4, well, he still can't reach. But he is then, he's able to start making a move towards that, but that's not what it's saying. It says, cause one or more German units to become proximate to, and then come turn 4 though, or turn 4 onwards, German supply to be traceable to an empty or garrison Soviet town or city hex. Does not apply if the situation exists at the start of the move. So, but again, there's no supply trace to that yet. Anyway, there's not a gap. Okay, right. That was unit 14. Was it? Is that them all? Yeah, it is. So what have we not got moved yet? We've got 12 and... No, he moved. So it's just 12 that didn't make a move. Right, then. So, and that was movement method 11, wasn't it? So, movement method 12, strength and potential attack. If not adjacent to... This is unit 12. If not adjacent to German unit, well, he is. A unit starting adjacent to German unit does not move by this method. Quick check on 9.25. Because we understand that applies now. He cannot get into here, here, here. He can, however, get 1, 2. No, he can't get into there either. So he can only stay where he is or move into there. There's no surround. He's already surrounded the unit. Well, we've not got a hex. It's not occupied by or adjacent to. We've not got an empty hex. We've not a hex not occupied by an active unit. No. So he would, if he could get around there, because that's a non-active unit, he would, but he can't. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's one short. So again, this is us down to, does he just stay where he is, or do we tie break between the two? And this is where we're kind of not sure. I kind of feel like he should just stay where he is. If he was to tie break at this time, closest 2 units objective marker, pretty sure they're both the same, yes. Empty hex doesn't apply. Furthest in the compass direction. Well, again, it hits the mark again and gets it right. So, yeah. So again, with this movement method as well, so maybe it's all built to take care of it. Maybe I've yet to, I think, find a tie break that I didn't want to tie break and not end up with the right result. So, so maybe it all caters for it. Right, I added this to my question too, because the wording on movement method 12 is slightly different. It just says a unit starting adjacent to German unit does not move by this method. It doesn't. It's slightly differently worded. I think it's only differently worded because it's the last movement method though. So I think it still comes into it. But the fact it doesn't have the 9.25 in brackets, but kind of makes it look like something different, you know. So I would that was part of my question. A sort of follow up is that classed as well? So the fact this unit did not move, it says does not move, right? Does that then make it the same as this guy? I think it does. There's no more movement methods to follow, but I think it does turn it into that as well, if you know what I mean. If you can start understanding what's going on. Okay, well, we'll see when it comes down to it. Let's just hope there's another reason to not bounce it back to reserves then. Because I'm not 100% sure if they're classed as having moved or not. That's the thing. It might seem like it's a daft question because it does say that does not move. So it's just a little bit down. Right. Okay, what we got. That's all the movement done, isn't it? Yes. Right, so can they check for attack then, I suppose? Conduct attack checks, yeah, and ascend an order. So what have we all got here? That's a 13, that's a 12. There's a 10 in there. So, yeah, so we're going to check an attack here. So 10 can be the lead unit. He's got 3 strength. This guy would join him, 6 strength. And this guy would join him, so 8 strength. It's only the 69th Army units, remember, and we don't have reserves, we don't have assault coordination. So it's 8 against 5. So not quite, it's not 2 to 1 anyway. 8 against 5. He doesn't have a +1 at all, I don't think, does he? He's not adjacent, he's not got an IP. Yeah, so it's straight up 8 against 5, so it's only 1 and 1. It's not 2 to 1 anyway. So we need to do the tactical value check. Command value, this card's only a 2, as you can see. So yeah, he's surrounded though. Right, let's see anyway. However, we've got armour and he's got infantry, so yeah. So a 2, and then it's not 2 to 1. It's not in the barrage zone. It is in support, that's a 3. If any attacking units are surrounded, no they're not. If flanking will apply or defender will be surrounded and unable to trace supply, well, flanking won't apply in the attack, but he is he is surrounded and unable to trace supply at the moment. So that is a +1. So that's 4. Target hex VP time greater than or equal to 2. No. If all combat tactics and auxiliary card apply, well they don't. It's partisans, isn't it? Yeah. So well, to be honest, even if it did apply, Grant. The next one's if less than 4 cards. No, it's not going to apply though. Yeah. So yeah, I don't think partisans apply, but that would only take it to 5. So I'm pretty sure it doesn't. Right, so no go there. So that was Unit 10 check-in. Unit 11 has got nothing. Unit 12 is here as well, and this unit's already been checked, so we can't do that. Unit 13, okay, it does require a check, but come on, Grant. 1 to 1. Yeah, if it was 2 to 1, you could see it being a chance. So 1 to 1, the card's only a 2. No artillery barrage. It's in support. That's a 3. They don't have armor. No. Attacking units surrounded. No. Flank will apply. No. Yeah, so that's a no. So and then finally, Unit 14 is only adjacent to this guy who's already been checked as well. So no attack. Right, now we do need to look at bouncing back to reserve then. What is it, 9.6 I think, because I just looked it up recently. So yeah, just checking, we're on step 4 now, we've checked for attacks. Step 4 only applies from turn 4. Step 5, which is remove eligible active units to reserve box, applies from turn 2, which is now where we're at. So 9.6, removing Soviet units to reserves. Right. First check the unit meets all these eligibility prerequisites for removal, and this goes in descending order actually. So, well, if they've moved or attacked, if they've moved, they're out of it. So he's moved, and these two we're just not 100% sure about. Then I want to say they've not moved. Hopefully I'll go over my computer in a second and somebody will have said, don't be daft, Grant, they've not moved. Let's just say we're looking in descending order, so that would be 13. Let's just say if the removal of him would work then, and let's just say he's not moved. The unit is adjacent to German. These are the prerequisites, right? The unit is adjacent to a German unit. Okay, supply can be traced from the unit's hex. Reserve supply is not required, and supply state and dispersal have no effect. So just supply can be traced. Yes, he's on a map edge that you can trace off of. The unit was not placed on the map from the reserve unit's box this activation. No, he wasn't. Removal of the unit would not cause another Soviet unit to become nearly surrounded or unable to trace supply. Well, it wouldn't cause the supply. So nearly surrounded means one unit can move and surround, doesn't it? It's just one move. It's just one unit. It's not like dangerous around that. We looked at it recently. Where the heck is that then? Here we are. A Soviet unit is considered nearly surrounded if a potential move by one undispersed German unit would cause that Soviet unit to become surrounded. Does not apply if the Soviet unit is in a friendly map edge hex. Okay, so if we took this guy away, well, these guys here are nearly surrounded because this guy can move into here. But that guy moving away does not stop that. Does not prevent that, sorry. However, would that guy... No, but surely don't consider that anyway. He'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, he could go and nearly surround them as well. He can do it as well. So the removal of that guy does not... That does not nearly surround the Soviet unit, does it? Does not allow the nearly surround of a Soviet unit. Yeah, I'm going to say no to that as well. Okay. Yikes, that means we're getting close to having to know if he's moved or not. If in a hex in the operational limit, well, they're all within that limit. I don't think that comes in it. Removal of the unit would not cause a surrounded German unit to become unsurrounded. No, it's not. The unit is not in Kharkov. So unfortunately, we are at the point where we do need to decide if he's moved or not, because if he's classed as not moved, he's going back to the reserve units box. So, yeah, sorry, maybe we need to read on. So then, if the unit meets all prerequisites for removal and is in any of the following 4 situations, remove the unit. So we're not finished yet. So in or adjacent to a village hex targeted exclusively for the non-active front. He is not in or adjacent to a village hex, no matter what front, okay? If the unit meets and is in any of the following 4 situations, right? So he's not in that situation. In a VP hex and stacked with at least 2 other steps, he is not. In a non-VP hex within the operational limit and stacked with another unit or adjacent to at least 2 Soviet occupied hexes, he is not. In a non-VP hex outside the operational limit and stacked within well, he's not in that as well. A unit not in one of these 4 situations is not removed. Okay, well, we're getting away with it this time. So can I remember everything to pass that on to Unit 12 then? I think quickly. Yeah, he satisfies the prerequisites. He's not in it's in or adjacent to a village hex targeted exclusively for the non-active front. So although he is adjacent to a village, that's the squares, isn't it? Is that the squares? Wait a minute. Yeah, it's shown as a brown. Oh no, they're not. They're not the squares. Yeah, they must be. Yeah, they are. It's just, yeah, the symbol on the thing. It shows it as this brown sort of unfilled in square. But my guess is because there's some of them on the map. Let me show you. I mean, I thought that's what they were, villages. So there's a description of a village, and it's a brown square with a white background. And there's a description of, that means Vornes front only, and that means southwest front only. So I figured these were villages targeted for them. And I'm sure that is the case, but it's just when I came down here and I thought, well, wait now, they're all filled in, but not these ones over here, look. So these are obviously not targeted for any front. These are targeted for southwest front. And then obviously the area we are in is targeted for Vornes front. Now you'll find some in between, like there's one there, that's targeted for both, so not exclusively. So and this instruction is only if it's adjacent and are adjacent to a village hex targeted exclusively for the non-active front, so targeted exclusively for the southwestern front, which is not the case. Okay, so and then, oh, sorry, kicked my dog. In a non-VP hex with the operational limit, in a non-VP hex within the operational limit and stacked with another unit or adjacent to at least 2 Soviet-occupied hexes. Well, this is going to be the case this time then, isn't it? I mean, unless, does operational limit get considered at the moment? Oh, sorry, I've missed one out. The second of the 4 situations is, oh no, it's in a VP hex, right? It's not in a VP hex. So I think we are all within operational limit, aren't we? I don't think we need to be, right, I need to find that out though. Right, yeah, 9.8, but just jumping back to the very page 4 actually. It's got Soviet operational limit lines. All hexes to the west, south of the active line are subject to the Soviet operational limit. Soviet movements and other activities are limited but not prohibited. So, has it got, yeah, there's a line, there's a line down, way down the bottom of the map here. There's the far operational line. And then there's one a wee bit further up, which is the near operational line. Okay, but 9.8 dates. When units become subject to operational limit, obviously, at the start of the game, no Soviet units are subject to the operational limit. So, what were we getting asked there? If you're not subject to the operational limit, then surely we're in a non-VP hex within the operational limit and stacked with another unit or adjacent to at least 2 Soviet-occupied hexes. I mean, I want to say that's what we are, that we're within the operational limit. But I don't know, maybe I don't know, maybe we need to be within, maybe that needs to be triggered for that to apply, but then that seems a bit daft. That means the only times we would bounce back is if we were in a VP hex. Yeah, that wouldn't make sense, would it? No. So yeah, so I think he can bounce back to reserves then. Okay, yeah, I'm going to go with that because I don't mean it's talking about operational limits which don't apply to us, so I'm assuming we are within the operational limit. And it wouldn't make any sense if it had to be, because it would then only mean you had 2 possible situations out of the 4. One being adjacent to a village targeted exclusively for a non-active front, and the other one being in a VP hex stack with at least 2 other steps. So I'm going to say that must apply because it doesn't really make sense. So in a non-VP hex, which that guy is, within the operational limit, which he is, and stacked with another unit or adjacent to at least 2 Soviet-occupied hexes. Well, he's stacked with another unit. So unit 2, well, we don't know if he's moved or not, do we? That's the thing. So, right, and I haven't had an answer yet. So, yeah. What I think maybe best to do is just leave the situation like that, finish the turn. My guess is that, well, the only thing that will be different come back is this guy will be in the reserve units box if we find out he isn't classed as moved, and that's the only thing that will be changed. But I'll just leave him there, I think, and then that would be their impulse over anyway. So it's not turn 4 yet, so can't place an IP marker, and there's no disperse markers. So yeah, and they never touched the auxiliary card, so that is going to become another impulse for them with the 6th army now. So that's that. Right, I'll leave that card there just to remind me of, or just want to just check. And what we could do is just chuck a little red cube on the top of that just to bring that to my attention, and we'll sort that out later on. So I should be back later with another part, but I do need to get going now. Some other things I need to do. I know Michael's commenting that I'm getting these videos out fast and furious. You can't keep up with them, and yeah, like I say, I'm off work. I actually ended up with almost, I think it was 4 weeks holiday, and we've not got planned to go away anywhere or anything like that. But I do have to do some other things though, and Tracy will tell you that I don't do enough of the other things. Apart from that, and the proof is probably in these videos. She actually looked on my channel recently and said there's an awful lot of hours of footage on that, so I can't really hide it, can I? Right, okay, so I better get away and do something, and I'll be back later. Okay, cheers guys.